What's up everybody, Brian with 3DO here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to connect a 3DO FS microphone to your computer using a 2-channel audio interface. Now there's a couple of things that you need in order to do this. Obviously you need a 3DO FS microphone, and to connect the microphone to the audio interface you need a special splitter cable. The 3.5mm output of the FS microphone is a stereo unbalanced output. So we need to keep that signal unbalanced when we connect it to the audio interface. And the way that we do that is with this splitter cable. I'll get this to focus here. So this splitter cable is a 3.5mm to dual 1/4 inch connector. So what that means is there's a TRS connector. So this is a tip ring sleeve. So this transmits here a stereo unbalanced signal through this end, and it splits the signal into left and right here. So this is a TS connector, which means tip sleeve. So it splits it into left and right. So what we'll do first is we'll turn the power of the 3DO on, then we'll connect the 3.5mm into the 3DO, and then we'll take our audio interface and we'll plug it into black to left and red to right. Now this particular interface is a PreSonus Audio Box 96, USB 96. And this has actually dual 1/4 inch and XLR connectors. So if you have an XLR microphone, you can connect an XLR cable to it. Or if you have a connector like this, you can also plug a 1/4 inch connector. This is pretty slick. Now, a couple of things to know about the settings on this. When you have the 3DO plugged in, you want to make sure that the 48-volt phantom power is turned off. It's not illuminated right now because it's not plugged in. So let's go ahead and plug it in to our computer so you can see it powered up. So now you can see the power light is on and the 48-volt phantom power is turned off. So whenever we connect to an FS series microphone, we want the 48-volt phantom power off. Now if this were an XLR or a Pro 2 model, we would want to use XLR connectors and XLR cables to connect to the 3DO microphone. But because we're using the FS only has the 3.5mm unbalanced stereo output, so we're going to use the 1/4 inch cables to keep the signal unbalanced. So we'll keep that off, and then what we'll want to do is we'll want to adjust the gain settings for each channel. So channel 1 and channel 2 each have their own gain settings. So a gain setting is like a sensitivity setting. So just to get us started, what we'll do is we'll turn this up to about 5 out of 10, about halfway, just to get a good volume. There's a mixer setting on this particular audio interface. We can ignore that because we're plugging directly into a computer. The mixer setting, the main setting, and the headphone settings all have to do with these outputs. But because we're not plugging into these outputs and we're just using the USB, we could ignore these settings. One thing to note, we do not recommend that you use the headphone output of your audio interface. And the reason why is because the 3DO microphone has both left and right. And so we want to pan the left ear all the way left and the right ear all the way right. But because the headphone settings don't allow for panning, if you were to plug headphones into this device, you would get both ears in both ears. You would get the left in both ears, you'd get the right in both ears, and it wouldn't sound binaural at all. So now that that's set up, and we have this connected to our computer, everything else we do is going to be in software. So let's jump over to the computer settings and we will finish up the setup. Okay, now that we've got our hardware set up, now we want to configure our software. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our computer recognizes the audio interface itself. So we're going to go into the system preferences of the computer, and we'll go to sound. And as you can see here, Audio Box USB 96 is the name of our audio interface, or whatever the name of your interface is. It's already pre-selected, and it looks like as I speak, you can see the volume level going up and down. So that's a good sign. So the computer recognizes the audio interface, and it seems to be working correctly. Now we want to go to the recording software itself and make sure that the software that we're using recognizes the audio interface. So as you can see, Audio Box USB 96 is already chosen. Now the output here, I don't have headphones plugged into my computer now, but if I did, you would see that here. So why don't I go ahead and do that now. And as you can see, now it recognizes external headphones. So our sample rate is at 44, so that's good, and we'll click OK. So we'll go up to New, and we'll go to Multi-Track Session, and we'll just do Test Session. And the sample rate here is 44.1 and 16-bit. This is the same sample rate and bit rate and sound quality settings as a CD, if you remember what those are. 44K 16-bit is a great starting point, so we'll just go with that. Let's click OK. So now we have a bunch of tracks here, and so we want to assign the left ear to track 1 and the right ear to track 2. So what we need to do is we need to select the input for each individual track. So if we find this, like I said, every recording software is different, but there should be an input setting for each track. So we'll go to mono, and we'll go to track 1, and then for track 2, go to mono and input 2. And we don't see anything yet. That's because we need to arm and then select the input. And when I select monitor input, now this sound from the 3DO is going into the headphones and going into my computer. So as I speak, as you can see, the volume level is going up and down. And now all I have to do is press record. And now it's recording my voice, and you're all set up. But there's one last thing we need to do. We need to pan track 1 all the way to the left and pan track 2 all the way to the right. So this is the panning setting. So we'll go all the way till we reach 100. And we'll pan track 2 all the way to the right. Now we have true binaural audio. And that is how to set up your computer to record binaural audio using an audio interface. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe below and look out for our next tutorial video. Thank you.